All right, tubers, Matt M. Roy back once again. Oh, well, what an interesting day it was today. Mom and I got our walk in. We just got back from the mall. Yeah, I got as many steps as I could in. I think I'm at like 19 and some change. Let me show you guys. Yep, 19.4, almost 19.5 right there. There you go. So, first and foremost, this is not going to have anything to do with computers. Please don't ask computer related questions. There's no technology related questions will be answered in this live stream. If you ask a technology question, you can ask it, but it's not going to get answered. So this is only for the topic that was listed because it is very important and very serious. I think that's a little bit better. I don't know. Let's see. I was a little drowned out, but we'll do it this way. Actually, hang on a second. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. So, topic I want to discuss is doctors lying to you about weight loss surgery. And this really came to head because of a video that I watched on YouTube the other day. And I'm not going to give any specific names because that's not going to be fair to the doctors and the people that do these surgeries because it can be important. But I want to discuss this with you because it is really vital that you know all your options. Basically, when I was watching this video, there was a gentleman from England that was young. He was 15 or 16, and he weighed, I think they said like 20, no, it was like 22 or 23 stones. So about like 350 some odd pounds, maybe a little less. But either way, he wanted to get the gastric bypass surgery. Basically, in England, they were not allowed to do it because he didn't weigh enough. They said he actually had to weigh more than he currently did. So he came over to America and saw a doctor. I believe it was in New York. And I had watched it up to that point, and I was listening to what the doctor said, and immediately I took umbrage with what he said. He talked to the kid. I mean, he's a kid. He's 14 or 15 years old. And he said that I think what you want to do is your only option. And right there I said, okay, he says it's the only option. And I'm like, that's not true right there. And then it gets even worse from there. The doctor goes forward and says, well, you can do things like change your diet and exercise, and you can get mental help, in other words, counseling to lose weight. And then the part that really got me angry was the next thing he said out of his mouth was, realistically, you can only lose and keep off about 20 pounds. That's right. The doctor said, even after all that, changing the lifestyle change, the exercise, the diet, everything, the doctor says, realistically, he can only lose and keep off 20 pounds. Now, I don't know if you guys remember from way back, a year and a half ago, when I was 340, 350 pounds. I have lost over 110 pounds, and I've been able to keep it off. And I didn't have to get the lap band or the stomach stapling or what have you, whatever they're doing now. And this is very important because doctors are literally lying to you. They're telling you one thing when it's just not so. Now, in all fairness, I'm sure the doctor was doing that because he really felt bad for the kid, wanted to make sure that he got the surgery. But on the other hand, the doctor's there to make money. So if the doctor doesn't get a chance to perform the surgery, true, the insurance company will probably pay for the consultation, but he makes the biggest bucks from the surgery. So it behooves the doctors to push the surgery on people that may or may not need it. And the doctor was also telling him, well, if you don't get the surgery, then you may not live another 5 years. And I'm like, what? You're going to tell a kid that's 15 years old, is overweight. Yes, he's overweight. And he just crossed the morbid obese range. Now, matter of fact, when this kid was younger, he wasn't even really obese. The weight had ballooned in the very recent years. You're going to tell a kid that's that young that if he doesn't lose weight right away, he's going to die within 5 years. I mean, come on. There's just no truth to that. There's no substantiated evidence that proves that, yes, this kid's life is in immediate danger. And they did the tests on him, and yes, he had slightly high blood pressure. His blood sugar was fine. His cholesterol was a little high, and yes, he did have some high blood pressure. But if you ask me, these doctors are just using scare tactics to persuade people to get the bariatrics weight loss surgery when it may not be necessary. And that's my take on the whole thing. I wanted to put that out there because it is really important that people know that there are other answers. And I'm living proof of that. I had, for a time, yes, I did consider getting weight loss surgery. In my case, it was the lap band, and I went as far as to get approval because I didn't have the money to get it. I mean, it's $4,000 or $5,000, and I got the approval from the state to get it done. Basically, it was like a Medicaid deal, a special Medicaid deal for people that were morbidly obese, which I was at that point. I even had the hospital picked out. I had talked to the doctor, and it was about 2 or 3 months before I was getting ready to go up there for the surgery. I said to myself, you know what? I don't think I want to do this, because I had started talking to people in my church and around town that had the surgery done. And for the most part, they were not satisfied with it. Most of them had initial success. Yes, they did lose the weight. But as years went on, the weight started coming back up and up and up and up because they were able to actually stretch their stomach out. You got to remember, basically what they're doing is, whether it's the lap band, stomach stapling, whatever, they're reducing the size of your stomach. That's great, and that may work initially, but as time goes on, your stomach will find a way to increase in size again, and there really isn't anything that you can do about it. Now, have there been people that have been successful with this? Yes, there have. But I didn't like my odds. There was, like, at the time, it was less than a 50% long-term success rate. Whereas that was when I said to myself, okay, I have a couple options here. I can go with that and have maybe a 30, 40% success rate, or I can buckle down and really try hard to lose the weight on my own. And at the end, that was the path that I chose, and that was the right one. So let me go in here. I know there are a lot of people commenting, probably not about this, I'm sure. Yeah, Chris Bartlett says it's not right. He lost 25 kilograms. Yeah, I mean, it was this kid's choice at the end of the day, and I believe he did wind up getting the surgery. I haven't heard anything yet. I mean, I'm sure they'll put out another video as time goes on, but I really hope that it works out for him. I hope for the best, but at the end of the day, I still don't think that was the right decision, especially at his age. I mean, come on, 15 years old? You got plenty of time to reconsider. I mean, heck, when I was 15, I was overweight, but I was a know-it-all. I mean, I thought I knew better. I'm like, yeah, I can eat all this food and worry about it 10, 20 years down the line, which I started worrying about it when I was in my early 30s. And look at me. I'm using myself as a test case. You guys can use me as an example. Say, hey, look, this guy did it. A person that had almost no willpower was able to lose all that weight. Oh, thank you, Ruben. Ruben said he watched my vlog before he started live stream. The car wash clip was super awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys like those. It's not usually my thing, but I figured I'd put it in there just because I had my camera, my phone. It was up on the mount. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Chris Bartlett says, I knew a lady had it done. She looked good, but had problems with it. They took it out the bag. So I'm assuming she had the lap band. She was just as fat when she used to be. Yeah, that's the problem. Like I said, a lot of times it doesn't work. And if it does work, it's only short term. So you're better off just trying to lose weight the way I did. And it's not easy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I went through living HE double hockey sticks to get to this point. But it does get easier. I mean, like tonight, I'm munching a little bit. I've actually haven't been able to do my intermittent fasting as much as I did before, but I have some orange Tic Tacs here. I mean, these are like literally no calories. So even if I polish this whole thing off tonight, my body will treat this as maybe 20 calories, and that'll burn off overnight. Eric Brunhammer says, at some point between 2003 and 2007, my mother had the stomach stapling thing done. Sadly, she is back almost to the weight she was and has been for years. Perfect example, absolute perfect example of this surgery just not working the way it's supposed to. Ruben asks, "Hey Matt, can you burn off your calories by walking?" Absolutely. I mean, you're gonna want to do a brisk walk. I do what's called power walking, which is actually almost as fast as jogging. I think jogging is like 3.3 or 3.4 miles an hour, and I power walk at about 3.2. Power walking, the way you get the speed up is you move your arms, and that helps propel you forward. And it kind of looks funny when you do it. You're kind of going like this, but it really helps propel your motion forward. And then that brings me to the next topic. This was sent to me by my aunt, and this is about intermittent fasting. And basically, the headline is Harvard study shows a surprising impact of intermittent fasting on the aging process. Countless research studies have shown the benefits of intermittent fasting. Now, Harvard scientists have closely examined its impact on the aging process. Intermittent fasting refers to an eating pattern that cycles between periods of fasting and eating. The most common type of intermittent fasting method involves 16-hour fast. So basically, you fast for 16 hours and you eat for 8 hours, which is basically what I've been doing, though I'm probably more of a 15-9 hour, but it works the same way. Advocates of intermittent fasting argue that humans have been fasting throughout our evolution. Sometimes it was because food wasn't available, in other words, famines. That was a less favorable time, but also be a core part of most religions, including Islam, Christianity, and Buddhism. The intermittent fasting study done at Harvard was published in the journal Cell Metabolism and reveals that intermittent fasting slows down the aging process. That's right. If you want to live longer, adapt your eating patterns to the periods of fasting and eating. And not to go in depth, but a lot of it is because you give your body a chance to work through all that food that you've eaten. If there is a surplus of food, you're going to be putting the weight on because your body stores it as fat. And if your body has an excess of fat, then you have the issues like diabetes, heart disease, high cholesterol. And when those take a hold, you definitely will look older. You will age faster because your body tends to degrade faster. I mean, I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything here. That's just the fact, the way it is. Here's another part. It's interesting. It's all about your mitochondria. The research study examined the basic biology involved in our cells, declining ability to process energy over time, which causes aging and age-related diseases, and how embracing periods of fasting promotes healthy aging. And again, a lot of that has to do with your body. Okay, your body isn't able to process the energy as much. So basically, that means you don't really need as much food to keep going. And that is why the intermittent fasting works so well. Your metabolism slows down as you get older. And some people, like me, unfortunately, have a slow metabolism to start with. So it all helps to do the intermittent fasting. Your body doesn't have that surplus at all. Chris Bartlett says, I don't eat much now. My son, who's 14 years old, eats 3 times what I eat. There you go, because as you age, you actually don't need to eat as much. George Blakely said at 15, I think I weighed about 245, but not sure. I have no idea what I weighed at 15. I mean, I would say I was probably in the 220s or 230s. It may have been a little bit more. I can't remember that far back. Heck, I can't hardly remember what I ate for breakfast this morning. Oatmeal and a banana. There, I remembered it. Baxter, get down. Baxter, down. Get that. Ooh, look at this. Look at this, guys. Check this out. He was right on top of my heater. You'll be a naughty, Mr. Baxter. All right, so that was just kind of a side note there. Let me fix my webcam here. Flips May says, I try to only eat beef once a week. Yeah, that's about what I do as well. Beef is one of the worst meats you could eat because it's red meat, and basically it's got a lot of cholesterol. It's got a lot of fat in it, and that you don't need that a lot in your body. Better thing to do is to stick to things like chicken. Pork is a good option. But yeah, I agree with you. Beef is definitely not one of my favorites. Not like it used to be. I used to be able to polish off a whole 12-inch Philly cheesesteak just like that. Now, very rarely do I eat Phillies. Eric says, I can't remember what I weighed at 15, but I haven't been skinny, quote skinny, since I was like 8. Yeah, I probably started packing on the pounds around that time too, 8 to 10. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that the kind of food that my mother cooked was the fatty stuff. It was the good old American cuisine. We used to eat a lot of meatloafs. We had a lot of pot roast, a lot of chicken divan, which is kind of like the chicken with the cream of mushrooms soup mixed in, and a lot of cheese, a lot of butter. And when I was young, she really didn't monitor my intake, like my food intake, like they should have. Now, I wasn't easy. I mean, I always wanted more. I couldn't get enough food sometimes. So it's kind of a two-way street, but I do think parents, especially these days with the plethora of fast food restaurants, need to limit their kids' exposure to food and limit the amount of times that they eat out, and definitely watch what they eat at home. You got to remember, even in schools are better now. They're offering better food selections, salads, tossed salads, fruit salads, leaner cuts of meat, sometimes meatless dishes. But you got to remember, the schools still have to offer the junkier stuff because there are a lot of kids out there that just plain won't eat the good stuff. I mean, they did a study in a school, I think it was in Mississippi, and they gave the kids, one day they gave the kids a choice of all the junky food. The next day they gave the kids only the healthy food. And the days that they gave them the junky food, they went and looked at the garbage. There was almost no waste. I'm telling you, like nothing. And then the days where the kids had only the healthy food, you would be amazed at how much of that was thrown away. Like there were plates that looked like they were never even touched. Get down. Get down. Get down. Baxter. Get down. He's a stinker, isn't he? Good boy. Yeah, Baxter is definitely up to something. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, you. Come on. Stinker. Trying to do a live stream, and he's really being a naughty boy. But I digress. Hello, Baxter from White Door on the right. Funny. Flips May. I'm eating a cinnamon roll and smoking a Camel at the moment. To each his own. What did I throw? It was just a tube of hydrocortisone cream. I was just trying to scare him. It was nothing heavy. It was just something to try to get him off. Because believe it or not, he's actually almost tipped that TV over once or twice, and I didn't want him to do that because right before Christmas, I don't need to be replacing expensive electronics. Believe me, I got enough expenses right now. But I mean, I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what you need to be aware of, because I've had a lot of people, and I'm not going to name names, I'm not here to call anybody out, but I've had a lot of people ask me privately through different message chats about weight loss and what I think they should do. And quite a few of them were considering the bariatric surgery. And most of the time, for most cases, I would tell them, no, it's not a good idea. Now, that being said, there are people that have gotten to the point where bariatric surgery might be their only option. People that are super morbidly obese, like people that are in the 400, 500, 600 pound mark, and they need to lose a lot of weight really quick, then yes, by all means, to save their lives, I would absolutely say get the surgery. But people that are on the fence, remember, morbid obesity is 40% body fat or higher. So you may have somebody that's 41, 42% body fat, and they may weigh like 350, 360 pounds, kind of like I was. That person stands a good chance of being able to lose the weight on their own if they buckle down and follow a regimen like I did. And that's why I'm trying to get on one of the local news shows. I've been in talks with a few people that know, like the anchormen around here. I'm trying to get on one of the local shows because I want to tell my story and hopefully inspire more people. I know I've inspired a lot of you out there in YouTube land, but I think I can take this story a lot further than just here. There's a lot that needs to be done out there. I mean, I read somewhere that we, my generation, in other words, the millennials and even the younger ones than me, might be the first generation to not live as long as our parents did, just because of the way we eat, what we're putting in our bodies. You know, we're poisoning ourselves. When you look at almost every junk food out there now has high fructose corn syrup, which is one of the worst things you can do to your body. Your body doesn't know what to do with that. Up until the 70s or 80s, they never even used that for food. You know, the corn was used for feeding livestock or sometimes making fuel. But only very recently, when they found out it was so cheap to turn corn into corn syrup and use that instead of sugar, did a lot of these manufacturers start using that instead of sugar because it's cheaper. Yes, it's cheaper, but it reacts differently to your body. Your body doesn't know what to do with it. And high fructose corn syrup will raise your blood sugar sometimes 3 or 4 more times than regular sugar would. And of course, Pepsi and Coke back in the 60s and 70s, they used real cane sugar. And matter of fact, if you go to Trader Joe's, I think Whole Foods has it too, and certain other high-end stores, you can actually get the Mexican Coke that comes in the glass bottles, and those actually still use cane sugar and not corn syrup. So there are options. You just got to look out for them and try to eat as healthy as possible. Did Baxter go in that window? Let's see if Baxter's in that window. Oh, yes, he is. He's being so naughty right now. You guys want to say hi to Baxter? I figured you might. Hey, Bax, do you want to say hi to everybody? Say hi. Say hi, Baxter. You're such a good boy when you want to be. He spent the night in the garage. I'm going to tell you that story real quick. Last night, Dad went in to pull out some soup. We have a refrigerator in the garage, a refrigerator freezer, our old one, and we had a container of the vegetable beef soup that he made. He went in the garage last night and pulled it out to defrost, and I guess Baxter must have snuck in because they could not find him this morning. I was fast asleep, and all of a sudden, Dad opened the garage door, and sure enough, Baxter came running back into the house. So you were a very naughty boy, and because you were naughty, you spent the night in the cold garage. Luckily, he was okay. I don't think any harm was done. It concerns me a little because it's a garage, and you never know what they can get into. There's oil, probably there. I don't think there's any antifreeze. That's the worst, because if they sop up antifreeze, it can actually shut down their kidneys. But I didn't smell anything on him. He was just kind of cold. Very happy right now. Chris Barlow says, yuck, I don't drink Coke. Tastes terrible to me. Again, I know a lot of people like Pepsi over Coke. Some like Coke over Pepsi. I never liked New Coke. How many of you guys are old enough to remember New Coke? Back in the mid 80s, they changed the recipe because they thought people would like it. They hated it. That was one of the worst things they ever did. Yeah, Pepsi Max is all right. I don't drink soda anymore. Occasionally, I will drink a diet ginger ale if my stomach is really upset. But other than that, I don't drink sodas at all anymore. Chet Boulay says, I always worry when I can't find my cats. Garage is a scary place for an unexpected cat. Yeah, it is. You never know what they can get into. He is really happy right now. Aren't you, sweetie? It's amazing. He doesn't usually let me hold him like this for very long. Eric says, lately when I drink soda, my mouth feels weird like cotton mouth. I wonder if it's something that they're putting in the sodas, because that happened to me too a few times. More if I drank like Jolt Cola or something that had a lot of sugar and a lot of caffeine. Caffeine kind of does it to me. George Blakely says, yes, I remember New Coke. I didn't like it. Yeah, I don't think anybody did. That was the biggest fiasco. I think it was only out for a few months, and they immediately realized their mistake and brought back the regular Coke. But when they brought it back, fun fact, it was never called Classic Coke before. But when they brought it back, they didn't know what to call it. So they said, we'll just call it Classic Coke, because everybody loves vintage. They want to drink what they were drinking before, and they use that name Classic Coke. You okay? You okay, buddy? He's very happy. I wish you could feel him. He is purring up a storm right now. I got to get a better grip. Let me see if I can hold him a little bit longer. Yes, you're such a good boy, Mr. Baxter. So sweet. Yes, you are. Ruben says, I drank the bubbly drink and it was a fiasco. I've never even heard of that before. Yeah, I'm not a big soda fan anymore. Ever since I lost the weight, trying to get rid of all the sugary drinks. I'm eating enough treats this year. I had a bunch of cookies today. Yeah, trying. But I'll give you guys an update. I have a new best for my weight. I am down to 235 pounds. So I'm only 15 pounds away from my ultimate goal of 220. And I'm definitely going to stop there. I mean, I can't imagine getting down any further than that. I mean, I think I just look totally emaciated. Not you, Baxter. You still look good. It's amazing. He's never been this friendly. Chet Belay says, it's a myth that diet sodas are bad for you. I've heard that dark diet sodas contain a lot of aspartame, and that chemical compound is very bad for you, apparently. Congrats on the weight loss. Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't really drink anything with aspartame. Like I said, on the rare occasions I drink some diet ginger ale. The ones that I get are made with Splenda, which is sucralose. Chris Barlow said, I find diet soda makes me feel funny. Probably all the NutraSweet in there, the aspartame. Don't worry about it. Yeah, a lot of people were trying to ask tech-related questions, and I'm like, not this time. I really wanted to get this information out because, and even if the people aren't here to see it now, I'm going to share this multiple times, and hopefully people will see it in post-production and get the information that they need. And if you guys have any specific questions, you can always send me a direct message through Facebook. Most of you guys are friends with me on Facebook. And if not, just shoot me a message in the comments, and I'll try to answer it as fast as I possibly can. Boy, you are a happy cat, Mr. Baxter. Unbelievable. Yes, you're a good boy. All right, tubers, I'm going to let Baxter down, and I'm going to go ahead and end this live stream because I've gotten all the information out that I needed to get out. Hope you guys really enjoyed this. Stay tuned for some more videos coming very shortly. Hopefully going to do a vlog tomorrow. I was not able to get anything at the thrift store today, so I didn't have any thrift store hauls for you. But hopefully that'll change, because as soon as Christmas ends and people get their gifts, there's going to be a flood of tech computers and anything tech related at the thrift store. So please continue to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.